Uber and Lyft drivers, does rider rating really matters? Here's my opinion. Now, this is a major conversation amongst drivers. A lot of drivers have had bad experiences with riders with high ratings. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of riders have had some terrible experiences with riders with low ratings. Here's my opinion. Do riders rating really matters? You motherfucking right. And I'm going to tell you why. Because that rating is there for a reason. They got that motherfucking rating for a reason. That rating tells you the truth. Now, let's be realistic. Anything past a 4.7 is a cause for concern. And I'm going to tell you why. It's some bullshit attached to that. They didn't get that rating past, low rating past a 4.7 from one rider. These ratings, them low ratings is coming from multiple riders. They got some bullshit with them. Plain and simple as that. And look, as drivers, we don't got time for none of that bullshit. If a lot of, I'm gonna tell you when rider ratings don't matter. Now, to some drivers, they just don't care. They just feel like, hey man, you know, it is what it is. I'm out here to make money. And I'm just gonna take any trip that comes to me. That's when the rider rating doesn't matter. But truth of the matter is that rating tells you exactly what you're picking, who you're picking up. You know, a lot of times riders get bad ratings because they won't come out on time. Okay? They become confrontational during the ride. Bossy. They make the drivers uncomfortable. Insertive. You know what I'm saying? Pontificating their will on the driver and his vehicle. You know, they just people gonna touch the 1, 2 stars. Now I'm gonna rate them motherfuckers low as I can. You understand what I'm saying? And then, so this is why they be wanting, you'll get a trip, or you see a 4.5 stars. If the rating is that low, it's a reason why. It ain't come from one incident. It did not come, it came from something. I'm telling you. Drivers, pay attention to that rating. You can exercise your right not to take trips where the rating is way lower than it normally should be. Because nothing but bullshit is coming with low rating riders. All kinds of bullshit. Uncalled for bullshit. You get it? Look, let me tell you. I had multiple rides. Whether riders 4.9, 5-star ratings. And they were just as asshole acting and bullshit and just as full of bullshit as the riders that have the low rating. Now, this is where the disconnect comes into play when you're talking about riders with low ratings. Drivers instantly prejudge them because of the experiences that they have had. And by right, as a driver, you have to make the decision that better fits what you're trying to do. But what about when you get one of these 5-star, 4.8, 4.9 riders that act complete assholes? it confuses you, right? You know, my advice is if it ain't 4.9, 4.8 or better, don't take it. You know what I mean? The rating tells you who you're picking up. Now, I got a little story I want to share with y'all. You know me, I got these little stories and things of that nature. Hey man, with all the rides I got under my belt, I got some shit for a motherfucker's ass. I can write a book. You remember how they had this show one time called on TV? I don't know if a lot of you younger folks know anything about this, but they used to have a series on HBO called Taxi Cab Confessions, right? Somebody need to create something called Uber and Lyft Confessions, Rider Confessions. That show will probably take off, you know what I mean? Gave you all $1 million idea. Jump on it. Anyway, I had this rider. First time I met him, his name was Henry. He was an elder man. He used to walk. He had a walker that you sit down on. Henry lived in a hotel. And I picked Henry up one day, taking him to the doctor. So those walkers that you sit on, they easily fold up. And you can put them in the trunk of the car. So when Henry sat in the car, you know, his walker was right there. I grabbed it for to fold it up. It would not fold up. Now, those walkers have like little pouches under the bottom, like a little storage department, right? Man, Henry had so much stuff in that storage department that when I try to close it to put it in the trunk, it wouldn't close. And so I told him, I said, man, you got too much stuff in that little compartment down there. You got to either take some out. Oh no, I'm not gonna take any of that stuff out of there. That's my urine. It's in a bottle. It's for my doctor's appointment, whatever they have to. So I'm looking at him. I'm like, so what you think? I'm gonna touch it? I said, now we can do this either way, Henry. I say either you can get the urine out of there so I can fold the thing up flat enough to get in the trunk. Or I can cancel the trip and you can go back into the hotel till they send you something out there. Hey man, well, I don't book my rides. My insurance company books my rides and this, that, and that. Oh, he's just going back and forth. So at that particular time, I'll be honest with you, I hadn't even paid a mind to his rate. I just was accommodating the man. You know what I'm saying? Well, he reached in the walker and got the urine out there and whatever else that was in there, and I closed it up and put it in the trunk. And he's sitting in the back. He got his face all frowned up and this, that, and the third. And so I proceeded to take him to the doctor. When I looked at the goddamn thing, I looked at, I happened to look at the thing. I said, man, this motherfucker got a 4.0 rating. No wonder why this motherfucker got a bad rating. It was at that point I determined once I drop him off, I was gonna click. See, on Lyft, when you drop somebody off, you can say they ask you, do you want to, would you like to drive this ride again? Uber does it the same with something similar. My plan was as soon as I get there, I'm not driving him anymore. You understand what I'm saying? So we get there, and halfway there, he started talking. Hey man, I want to apologize to you. We got off on the wrong foot. Hi, my name is Henry, and this, that, and third. Man, I didn't mean any harm. I get some asshole drivers sometimes, and they don't know how to talk to me, and this, that, and that. So I was like, okay, man, ain't no problem. I just wanted to get him to where he was going. That's all I wanted, to get him to the doctor so he can get out the car. So then we got to talking, and then he started telling me, he said, yeah, you remind me of my son. You got them broad shoulders, and you ain't standing for no bullshit. And I'm like, he said, yeah, my son, he died about 8 years ago, and I miss him, and this, that. And he had got a little teary-eyed back there and everything. I said, man, well, I'm sorry that your son passed away and all that. And, he just came, he was just, I started seeing a little bit different in him. He seemed to be an elder that no one wants to listen to, because he leads some old people that's grouchy. They lead with aggression, and it rubs people the wrong way. And that's what he did to me. He led with aggression. And I had determined at that point that aggression that he leads with is who he is as an older man. And that's why his rating is that low. So I dropped him off, got his walker, and he reached in the pocket. He gave me a $7 tip, $7 or $8. And I told him, I said, he said, man, you get you some water and you get you some stuff to keep yourself hydrated while you're out here driving. I hope to see you again. When I didn't even block him from riding with me. I said probably about a week later, I got a call to go there again. It was him. Man, I pull up. He just for the most jovial, like happy. Hey, how's everything going? Man, I've been trying to get them to send you to me, but they won't let us select our drivers. I'm about ready to just tell you. I'm about ready to tell them I would just rather ride with you. I don't go many places. I go out here and there, and I'm just going up here to the grocery store, and I would appreciate it if you would wait for me. I'll give you a pretty deep tip. I tell you, well, how long you gonna be in there? And I said, I'm working. He said, I'll make it worth your while. So I said, all right. So I got up there, and I waited for him. And I told him, I said, when I see you come out, I'm going to pull up to the door. Man, he ain't had no more than probably about, 2 bags of groceries. 2 totes of groceries. And I drove him back down the street to the hotel. He put his groceries on the walker and turned around and gave me $35. And it wasn't because he tipped me that made me take a liking to him. It was that he was misunderstood. And my grandma, having dementia, touches of dementia, and at some points before she passed away, she was misunderstood because she led with aggression. She was my grandma was my rock, baby. She was my girl. And grandma used to always tell me, she said, she used to call me Chubby. She said, that was the name she gave me for my baby. She said, Chubby, you listen to me. That's why I always want to make sure that you, if I got something going on, I want you, because you take time to listen to me. Now, everybody else listened to my grandma. Grandma she almost was like Henry. You know what I'm saying? And, that kind of was heart touching to me. You know what I'm saying? But, people sometimes, the reason I shared this story with you all, Henry became one of my best writers. You know, I didn't. He would call me sometimes, and then he would sometimes they would book a trip, and I would get him either from the doctor's office, from the or sometimes I would get him from the grocery store. However, he booked the trip and he got there, whatever, don't matter. I was there to get him. And he didn't always give me a tip. He just seemed like after me and them had that first little slight misunderstanding, what I found him most interesting about him was he took time to apologize to me before the ride ended. And that's more than any other riders that get in your car with bullshit have done. And I kind of like, that was one of the reasons why I didn't really block him. And he became one of my best riders. Now, I haven't seen Henry in a very long time, and I hope he's okay. But that number, you people, you drivers, use that rating at your own discretion. If you choose, because of bad experiences, if you choose not to accept a ride under a certain rating, I can understand you. But the rating does not always determine that the rider was the problem. I just wanted to open you all's eyes to that. Now, I've also picked up some people with 4.5 ratings in my time, and they weren't a problem. And I've given them multiple rides. So I don't know how they rate these people. I guess it's based off drivers' interaction and problems that they're having with these people. But I know that they got that rating for a reason. And that rating does not always mean that that person is a bad person. That is food for thought. That rating that person has on that platform that you're driving for does not mean that that person is a bad person. Always. Okay? I wanted to leave this video today, talk about these drivers' ratings. And, hey, man, you know me, I don't accept nothing lower than a 4.8. But, again, I've gotten a lot of them, 4.8, 9s, and 5s that have been full of shit. So you got to set whatever strategy works for you. Okay? Yeah. Hey, man, this is Rideshare Real Talk. And if somebody didn't tell you today that they love you, oh, man, I do. And I mean it. I'm out.